Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So in today's video we're gonna be talking about the best Sung Jinwoo weapons in the game and what you should be focusing on when it comes to that. So to start things off, we're gonna go on the Sung Jinwoo page right here. Now guys, weapons are one of the most important aspects in the game when it comes to damage dealing and also total power. Weapons give you a ton of total power, and as you can see here, my Sung Jinwoo's total power is around 590,000. And if I go to unequip a weapon, you can see that this power drops by 100,000, which is a huge amount of it. So I'm gonna put it back in, and we're going to go on the codex and in the weapons section right here. So the first weapon we're gonna be talking about today is the Transfiguration Key. The Transfiguration Key is a new added dark element weapon, and it's currently the meta of the game. This one right here, along with our next weapon, is arguably the top two weapons in the game right now, and there are a couple of reasons for that. One of them is that now that the Overload has become a meta and elemental stackers have been added to the game. Now if you don't know what that is, elemental stackers is a new hunters category that helps you overload the boss, and when you do it, the damage you deal becomes greater by a lower amount. And that's why this, when this weapon comes to handy, because it increases the overload damage and it also the dark elemental accumulation effect by 20%, so it helps you overload the target faster. Now because it's a core attack weapon, you should level up this skill right here, which is its core attack, and also of course its main skill as well. Now for every weapon that we're going to be talking about today, you should know that the ideal mark, especially in the beginning, is the A5 mark right here. As you can see, this weapon at the A5 mark increases the dark overload damage by 20% and helps you and increases the dark elemental accumulation effect by 40%. So that, guys, are huge buffs. And also that you want to get this skill right here for the most part, which is the weapon's main skill, as high as possible. That's all for this weapon. And the next one we have is the Winchester Rock, another dark element weapon. These two weapons are going to be a must-have for the upcoming hard mode of Workshop of Brilliant Light. And this is a DPS weapon, a damage per second weapon. You can deal a ton of damage with this. It also has the core attack here, so you want to level up this skill and also this as well as high as possible. And of course you want to take it to the, to the A5 mark. Now let me guys know if you want to talk about every single advancement, or just tell you the best weapons and where you want to have them, just like we do now. I'm gonna say a couple of things. In its A5 mark right here, the overload damage of this weapon decreases by 70%. And the core attack, the Winchester Rock's core attack changes to condemn, that its damage increased by 80%, so that's very good. Buffs, it also increases the dark damage by 30%, condemns dark damage by 30%, and critical hit damage by 60%. Super strong. So these two here, right here, is a must-have. Now we're moving on to our next weapon. Our next weapon is the King's Daggers. This is a wind element weapon, and it's arguably the strongest weapon in the game right now. Now the King's Daggers is also a DPS weapon, and you want to take it to the A5 mark, and of course get this skill right here as high as possible. A couple of things for that. At its A5 mark, increases wind damage by 30%. The area of effect of the main skill is increased by 20%, and the main skill's damage increases by 150%. The time when the Baron's Workshop of Brilliant Light came out, this weapon was almost a must-have, and it was just annihilating Baron. It was crazy the damage it was dealing. Now we're moving on to our next weapon, which is the Stormbringer. The Stormbringer is another wind element weapon that works excellent with the King's Daggers, and there is a couple of reasons for that. Now this weapon not only helps you deal damage if you pair it with the right weapon, but also with the right skills. So the reason for that is that casts a debuff on the target that deals, let me find it, damage equal to 100% of attack, and that is triggered when the user's wind basic skill hits the target. So that means that if you have a wind skill on your Sung Jinwoo, either if it is a QTE skill, an ultimate skill, a basic skill, or a weapon skill, when you hit the target with that, it also deals damage. It deals damage equal to 100% of Sung Jinwoo's attack, which is huge, guys. And if you take it all the way to the A5 mark, this damage is doubled. So as you can see here, it deals damage equal to 30 to 100% of the Sung Jinwoo's attack. And not only that, but it also increases damage taken by 10% and wind damage taken by 15%. That stacks up to 2 times, so that means a total of 20% damage taken increase and 30% wind damage taken increase. That's a very good weapon overall. And we're moving on to our next one. Our next weapon is a dark element weapon that's called Moon Shadow Daggers. Now the Moon Shadow is a weapon that helps you not only deal damage with Sung Jinwoo, but also helps your hunters deal damage in teamfight modes. The reason for that is when you hit the target, it applies the full moon on it, and also the lunar eclipse. The lunar eclipse increases damage taken by 10% and the user's dark damage by 10% as well. Now as you advance, this weapon enhances the effect of these two. Now it can stack up to 3 times, and the target's damage taken increases by 15% and dark damage taken increases by 15% as well. So that means that if you stack this up to 3 times, the darkest damage taken increases by 45% and the dark damage as well. Now if you take it all the way to the A5, you can see right here it increases the user and the team member damage by an additional 15%, while the time slowing effect is active, and that's when you use this weapon's basic skill. Now, to put this in simple words, when you are in teamfight modes, just like the guild boss where you have 6 hunters and your Sung Jinwoo, that means that the effect of this, if you stack it up to 3 times, Sung Jinwoo and your hunters are going to deal 45% more damage, and if you have a dark damage build on your Sung Jinwoo and dark element hunters on the mode, that means that their damage is also going to be increased by another 45% as well. So they deal 90% more damage in total, and it's also the double damage they would be dealing without it. So that's all for this weapon. we're moving on to our next one, which is the Thetis Grimoire. Now the Thetis Grimoire works just like the Moon Shadow daggers. It's a water element weapon. Of course, you want to take it to the A5 mark, advancement 5 mark, and you want to take this skill as high as possible. Now this weapon is good because at its very first advancement increases elemental weakness damage taken by 24%, and that goes for your Sung Jinwoo and your hunters in teamfight modes as well. And taking it all the way to the A5, you can see right here that increases damage dealt to frozen targets by 50%. Now there are a couple more weapons. We have the Plum Sword. The Plum Sword is was at the first 8 months of the game one of the, if not the best weapon, because it was helping you not only deal a lot of damage, but it also helped you deal more damage with every skill that you had. Now it increases critical hit damage by 12%, and that stacks up to 3 times, so a maximum of 36%. But as you advance it further, and now this effect stacks up to 5 times, so that your critical hit damage increases by 60%, which is almost double, and the user's deck damage increases by 5% as well. And another reason that this weapon was and it's so good is because it increases the damage of every single skill you have on your Sung Jinwoo if you dash before using it. So if you dash before using, let's say, QTE skill, an ultimate skill, or a basic skill, or even another weapon skill, the damage you deal is a lot higher, and that's one of the main reasons this weapon was called a universal weapon, because you could use it to clear almost every content in the game. Now we're moving on to our next one. That is the Fan of the Fire, which is a fire element weapon that also deals all might break damage right here. Now the reason you need break damage is because some of the bosses have a yellow bar under their HP bar that's called the break gauge bar. This bar increases the defense of the boss by a ton. So with that said, until you break it, the damage you deal is not the highest that you can, and that could lead you to lose on time. So this weapon right here helps you break the bar and also deal a lot of damage, especially when you pair it with our next weapon, that's the Radiru Clan's double-edged spear. Now this weapon also deals weak break damage and break damage in general, and it's the combination you almost was a necessity to have when in order for you to clear the Walter hard mode workshop of Brilliant Light. So these two weapons not only were dealing a lot of damage, but they were also helping you to break the break gauge bar of Walter, which was a huge problem. And that's yeah. Now when it comes to the fire element, Enyo's Roar is also a very strong weapon that you want to be having. It has a lot of damages. I'm gonna talk about only the A5 in this one. Using a fire weapon skill increases the user fire weapon skill damage by 50% and enhances some effects. Now it's summons a meteor from the sky to attack the target that deals 2000% of attack, which is great. And it also increases the pitch black rage damage by 100%. And yeah, a very strong weapon overall. And now we're moving on to our last weapon for today's video, which is the quarterstaff. Now the quarterstaff is this weapon right here. is a very strong weapon, and it was the one that will help you clear the Demon's Workshop of Brilliant Light. It's a very strong weapon, especially as you advance it further. As you can see right here, it has this right here, increases the damage of Heaven Lord Strike by 100%, stacks up to 3 times, so that means 300% more damage. And as you're taking it to the A5 mark, right here, when the mana power concentration effect has stacked 5 times the damage of the staff, the divine quarters of drop effect increased by 150%. So we're talking about a lot of damage, and that's basically it. So if I were to put an order for that right now, I'd say Winchester Rock and Transfiguration Key, and then the King's Daggers, Fan of the Fire, Ennius Roar, and then Moon Shadow, Theris Grimoire, along with the Plumflower Sword and the Double-Edged Spear. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.